Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Willie Jolley and my beautiful bride.
This is Dee.
And we want to welcome you to the Jolley Marriage Show, a special edition of the Jolley Marriage Show, a special Veterans Day edition of the Jolley Marriage Show. For those who are first timers,
honoring our veterans and their families.
That's right. And so honoring our veterans and their family. And for those of first timers, we're the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. We've been married going on 40 years.
I was a baby.
Oh, Lord, help me somebody. And we haven't had an argument in 38 years. So people are amazed. We did a TED Talk on it.
Because I always agree with him.
That's not the truth, okay? That's not true. But I will go with her conversation of it. Anyway, go to jolleymarriage.com to see the TED Talk, absolutely free. And you can see what the system is that we use to not always agree, but not to argue. And so you will be, your marriage can be transformed by that. So we want to thank you all for joining us for this special edition. We want to celebrate all of the veterans who have served our country so wonderfully. We are grateful for your service. We're grateful for your sacrifice. And we are grateful for your protecting freedom. And we are grateful for
And the sacrifice is not just the veteran, but it's the veteran and their families.
And their families. That's right.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we are celebrating all of the above. Now, for those on Instagram, you can hear our guest, but you cannot see our guest. If you want to see our guest, you need to be on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live. But everybody else will be able to hear our guests. Our guests are special. They special. Okay, it's going to be a special night. My guests are my wife's brother, Rivers, and his beautiful bride, Shirley. They've been married for 34 years. Rivers is a veteran and
a
Marine. Hoorah! And I got to get his story. Okay, Rivers grew up as the younger brother of Dee in a home where they had a fire and brimstone father. Dee was the nice
chosen one.
The chosen one. There you go. The nice PK. He was the PK that was the one that people talk about when they talk about PK.
Challenge.
It goes the other way, okay?
Yes.
So when I first dated her, we went for a weekend to visit her parents. She said, my brother lives with us. I'm warning you, though, he's a little wild. I said, okay, well, I can't wait to meet him. We got there on Friday morning. We were there Friday all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I never met him. He was what we would call in the streets, okay? So he was wild. He was, he had a lot of, he's had stories of being put in jail. He's had drug issues. But we talk about the redemptive power of the Lord. He turned his life around, accepted the Lord, turned his life around, became a pastor. And for almost 30 years, he was pastoring. And he recently, he was a school counselor as well, but he pastored. He was a pastor, a minister, and well-known in the Hampton area, Hampton, Virginia area. He just recently retired. He and his wife, Shirley, co-pastored this beautiful ministry. And now, over the years, about, 15, 20 years ago, they started serving veterans. They have homes for veterans. They have several homes in the Tidewater area where they house veterans. So we thought it would be apropos to have them here to talk about veterans, the needs of veterans, and then relationships of veterans. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my brother-in-law, Rivers Taylor, and his beautiful wife, Shirley. Rivers and Shirley, welcome to the Jolley Marriage Show.
Thank you, Willie. Hey, Dee, how y'all doing?
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
We're so glad. Well, y'all been married 34 years.
Yes.
And, let's start with the fact that as a veteran, you have shared with me over the years that veterans often have PTSD.
Yes.
And they have things that linger beyond that, which impact relationships. Does it not?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. What Shirley and I started housing veterans in 2005.
Wow.
I had started going to the VA to start to receive my the benefits from the VA, the health benefits from the VA. And while I was there, I was running to a lot of veterans and talking to them, and then found out that one of the major problems is that they didn't have housing. Even some of those that were receiving disabilities did not have housing. So that's how Shirley and I got started with our home. We started with our own home, which was our father's home, mother and father's homes, which Dee and I grew up in. It was a large home, and we were able to turn that into a 9-bed facility.
Wow.
Still having a living room, still having laundry room, still having eating kitchen, porches, and all that. And when the guys came, they appreciated it because they had somewhere nice and clean to be. But they have many issues. That they were dealing with. And I did not even know it until I started talking with them and sharing with them.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about some of those issues, the stressors, things that impact veterans and impact their families and their relationships. I'll talk about the PTSD is one of them, that they have to get that. You just mentioned that they have to get their health care, and sometimes over the years there have been challenges, but we thank God they're better now. And then you talked about the housing, which y'all said we address that for them. What are some of the other stresses that you see and
how does it impact their relationships with their children?
Right. Well, one thing we were talking about earlier is their finances. First of all, not unless you're receiving 100% disability, you might get I've had vets that stay with me that make $1,500 a month from their disability, and they are not able to get jobs.
So why aren't they able to get jobs? Because they have disabilities, because they have PTSD. What?
Well, the disability, the PSTD is one of their disabilities, and their mental health is a major thing that we just starting to address in the last 10 years. Because a lot of people just thought that, not unless you were in a war zone, that why would you have PTSD?
And you actually were during the Vietnam War.
I was during the Vietnam era. I did not step into Vietnam. I got to Okinawa and was ready to ship out. And that's when the Vietnam War ended in 1975.
Wow. Praise the Lord.
Won't nobody but the Lord, because my unit went, but I did not go. And there was an incident called the Maguez incident at that time in 1975 when they had captured a ship. And they sent my unit that I was with from Okinawa to Vietnam. And then I lost about 18 to 25 members of my unit. And the only reason I didn't go is because of the Lord. I was on guard duty in Okinawa. I had done my 6 months and I was supposed to go back to my unit. But God saw it fit that I stayed in Okinawa on guard duty.
Wow. Because then you might not have met Shirley. Come on,
no question.
Yes,
but there are multiple issues, and one of the things we were talking about earlier, Willie, is the family issues, dealing with relationships. And sometimes veterans have a hard time dealing with relationships.
Is that a result of, for example, civilian life? So you're talking about when they come back to civilian life, or how the family and the veteran have to adjust to each other?
Well, we were talking earlier too about when they get out of the military. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't realize how stressful it is while they're in the military, and they start drugging sometimes in the military.
Yeah, in the military. Junior, push your camera a little bit toward Shirley. I'm getting half of her. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Go ahead, Shirley. Yeah, perfect.
So, and that was one thing we were talking about, is that sometimes people don't realize how stressful it is in the military, and that's when they start the drug abuse.
Yeah,
and so
a lot of people in Vietnam started their drug issues while they were in Vietnam, right?
While they're in Vietnam, correct.
Right. The stress of the military, and then their MOS. We were talking about that too. Their the military occupational specialty, what they go into the military for, whether it's combat or, that has a lot to do with their mental when they come out of the military.
Mental state.
And that's when, that's when all the mental health challenges start, and then they have to, hopefully seek out counseling.
Right. Which, as y'all know, most men don't. And then when you add on, they were military.
Yeah.
They look at that as a weakness when you try to seek out counseling.
Yeah.
And which is devastating, because they need help.
Yeah.
Right.
Can their family members seek counseling even if the veteran does not? Is that a service available to the family members?
Yes, that's a service that's available to the family members. But remember, if one family member getting services, mental health services, and the rest of them not, it's not going to help the whole family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially if the veteran feels like nothing's wrong with him.
Right. That's an issue.
That's one of the major issues.
But y'all have seen that. I'm getting the impression y'all have seen that over the years at your homes that you've had.
Yes. Because most of them been married and had children, and they have no kind of relationship, no correspondence with them. Because one of the things I did when I got them is that I learned over time I had to get all their information as far as family, phone numbers, addresses, next of kin. Because I've had guys that come to me, and older guys, because I try to deal with the older veterans. I'll deal with the younger ones too, but the older guys are more stable. They just want somewhere quiet, somewhere to be. I can watch my TV, I can eat my little meals and stuff like that. But you'd be surprised, they do not have relationships with their families.
Wow.
I think they get into the isolation, loneliness. But I think sometimes they just make themselves content with that.
Yeah.
And don't try to come out of that bubble.
Right.
Sometimes they don't want to come out of the bubble.
Sometimes they don't want to.
Sometimes they feel like the things they have going on in themselves mentally or physically or whatever, they don't want to.
They don't share.
They don't share.
They don't share.
They just deal with it.
They deal with from it internally, and that's where the substance abuse comes in,
right?
Because they start to self-medicate,
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So y'all, so tell us some of the lessons that the two of you have learned in your ministry and in your marriage. Y'all have been married 34 years, and this is married to a veteran. Okay, Shirley.
We were talking about that earlier today, and I said, "So what are your issues?" What kind of issues do you have? Because I can honestly say I feel blessed.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really seen any. If he does, he deals with it on the inside. I'll put it like that. He'll deal with it on the inside, but he doesn't really have any real issues. I mean, he did have a drug abuse problem. Thank God that was when we met.
Mm-hmm.
But talk a little bit about that. Like, what drove you to the drugs and stuff when you were in the military?
Well, isolation in the military and not being around family and just going out and doing things and trying. And it can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get people to understand what you're going through. Because sometimes one of the problems we have is we cannot put what we're going through into words.
Yeah.
We cannot communicate it.
Because of a lack of the words to use the communication itself, or is it that because you're in the military, you can't share certain difficult pieces of information because it's
Secret.
secret.
And it's sensitive.
Sensitive.
And they look at it as a weakness when you start to sharing, your feelings. First of all, even those that are not in the military, it's hard to share emotions because we have very few words to really explain the emotions that you're going through, not unless you go to counseling.
And most of them won't go to counseling.
Huh?
And most of them won't go to counseling, correct?
No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. And then we got the black church that says that if something's, you have God makes you have a sound mind.
So you got some just give it to the Lord. That's enough.
Give it to the Lord. That's enough. Read some scriptures and pray, and you shall be healed.
But we all know that mental health is a real issue.
It could be a chemical imbalance.
And that counseling is a wonderful blessing for people to be able to take advantage of.
So
I tell people
need medication
all the time. You're going through something. If you broke your hand, what would you do? You go to the doctor. You broke your foot. But what about a broken heart or a disjointed mentality? You need help. And don't feel it makes you weak. It only helps to keep you strong, as Les Brown says. So,
and I think for women, though, I think it's easier for women
to
open up, to go to counseling,
and be accepted.
To hey, I need this help. I'm going to reach out and do it. Men have this thing.
Yeah, we do.
Men have a thing about them. They just won't. Some of them just won't open. Some men are just open, but a lot of men are not.
Especially men that have been in the military. We will keep things to ourselves.
Trying
to heal ourselves.
All right, and you're trained in the military for a certain mindset. Am I right?
That's true. In fact, that's what boot camp is all about. Boot camp is not about so much the physical fitness as it is about the mental fitness. Because the whole premise of boot camp is to see if you will break.
Okay. Wow.
And that's because if you're captured by the enemy, what will you do? You will give them all the secrets.
And that's another thing. I was talking to one young lady, and she was saying that that was a mentality that the military breaks you, and then she said she finds herself now trying to build herself back up from the military because it was such a mental thing for her.
Mental stress.
Yeah. So the purpose of boot camp is to make your mindset what they want it to be.
Correct. That's to break you down and build you up the way they want you to be.
Right.
So then once you leave, you no longer have that culture.
Right.
It's like, what do I do now?
So that's why we wanted to talk to those who are veterans, because we found, I think you gave a statistic that was so alarming to me that every day in America we have an incredible amount of veterans who commit suicide.
This was, of course, I did a little bit of research because on the news today, they were talking. It's Veterans Day. The alarming statistic that they gave was that there were 22 veterans on average who committed suicide daily. 22.
Wow.
But I went to ChatGPT.
Yes.
Plus
the new Google.
And it says that that was before 2019.
Correct.
2019, it went down a little bit to like 19 per day. But it's back up, and it could be as high as 44 suicides a day, and they're collecting new data.
And they're probably the highest group of suicidal members in the United States is probably veterans.
So what we want to do is celebrate veterans, let the veterans know that we appreciate them, that we love them, and that their ministries, like the ministry of Rivers and Shirley Taylor, who are addressing some of the needs. because he's been a veteran. He's been in the process, and he knows how painful and challenging it can be. And he's creating relationships and their families. That's why Shirley has been so impactful with their ministry. To talk to the wives, the girlfriends, the children.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. And for the spouses of veterans, it can be very stressful.
Yeah.
I want
Because they come in, they leave, they come back. And when they come back, you know, they've been gone for like, especially those, you know, like get on the Navy, serves on ships.
Mhm.
They come in, they're home for a little bit, then gone out for 6 months, 7 months deployment. And then they want to come back like things were before they left.
Yes.
But just think about the children, how they grow up, and how many 6 months missed of their life was such an important impact on them.
Yeah.
And we want to come back home and think things was just like it was 6 months or a year ago, and it's not.
Mhm.
Okay.
I want to mention there's a veteran crisis hotline.
We want to get
which
that
is
out. Yeah.
available.
Please.
And it's
Right.
confidential support 24/7. And you can reach them by calling this number, which is 988, and press 1,
Okay.
and texting 838255.
988, then press 1, or text 838255. Any veterans who are struggling. And Rivers and
Let
Shirley.
me also add,
Yes.
and they can chat. And if you're online, if you're like, I just
Mhm.
want to do it online, it's veteranscrisisline.net. Veteranscrisisline.net.
So let me. You haven't had a lot of issues, but y'all have been together for now almost 35 years.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the lessons you've told your children. Both your children are now married, about staying together in spite of the challenges, because you've had challenges. And
Right.
so give some from a veteran who is married to a civilian. Tell the listeners and viewers some of the recommendations that you give to married couples who might need to hear some words of encouragement. Some of the things that you encourage them to do.
Well, one thing, Shirley and I don't argue.
Mhm.
We disagree, but we don't argue.
Mhm.
Because when you get to arguing, that means you start calling each other out of names and saying things that are mean. And anybody can say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie from the pit of hell.
Mhm.
Right.
I can say that right.
You can say that.
Okay. But and the reason I say that is because you can say something to me and hurt my feelings or destroy me morally, and I'm gonna remember that all the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But you can cut me and the cut a heel, and next thing you know, you can't even find it.
Mhm.
So that's one thing we don't do, and we always come together on one accord. And one of our greatest saving grace has been our relationship with God.
Yes.
Because even though sometimes we may not agree on certain things, we always agree on God. We always believe on our religious faith.
Yes.
We always come together on one accord on that. And that is so important.
Mhm.
So any family, they might be going through some issues. You need to come together. And one of our saving graces has been our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And
You know,
Shirley, you came to this from both of y'all are pastors' children, PK.
right? Okay.
And what are some of the lessons you've learned, or you tell your daughter and your son about staying married, Shirley?
I think communication is really important. And I think accepting the person for who they are.
Right.
You know, don't go into a relationship or marriage like saying that you can change them, or, you know, sometimes that I hear it all the time about, you know, they'll change, they'll be different. No, I tell my daughter, what is it? Can you, whatever's going on, can you live with it?
Mhm.
Okay.
If you can't live with it, don't get into the relationship, don't get into the marriage, don't get, you know what I'm saying? Because some things will not change.
Right.
Mhm.
Some things won't change.
Right.
And so how do how do you deal with that person? Regardless, if they don't ever change, just one particular thing, can you deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the question. Like me living with your sister.
That's another show of his own.
her, but I didn't help her to become more humorous. But I mean, just straight down the line and organizing, and every little thing got to be in the right place. I move stuff sometimes just to see her get the shape.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it, And
that's good.
And as Shirley was saying, is that you just got to make sure,
because nobody is perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
No, that's right. That's right.
And you got to know I'm not perfect, and they're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But
the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, but the thing about me, I was only in the Marine Corps for 4 years.
Okay.
And then when I got out, I went straight to school.
Okay.
And started working on my degree.
Did your VA bill take you to school?
Yeah, the VA bill, VA paid it all. Okay. In fact, that's the only reason I went into the military, because I wanted to go to school. Okay. And I couldn't afford to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he also said that military taught him a lot of discipline too.
Yeah, because I was ADHD. I was all over the place. Okay. And it taught me how to be self-disciplined
and consistent.
And it did, because I would start one project and move to another project, never finish that first project that I was on. And I would move, but the military taught me self-discipline. How to get with something and stay with it, complete it, and then move to the next task. And I'm be honest, when I went in the military, my dad did not want me to go. And that was because he was in the military during a Korea conflict. And of course,
World War II.
Korea.
He was in Korea
after World War II.
Okay.
Well, he went in during the time in the 40s.
Okay.
Yeah. And and I understand, but for me, the military was one of the best things I've ever done.
Wow, great.
Because it taught me self-discipline.
I think there was so much more racist back then, and being
and when Dad was there, it was very, very racist. He was very concerned about that. He didn't think I was going. He said, "That boy, hey, look, but Willie, growing up with him, the military won't know."
He says that all the time.
Well, we had a wonderful dad.
He was tough.
The fact that if Dad said right, he said left. That was the problem.
I would test. Hey, I was one of those kids that would test the limits, and see how far I could push the envelope.
Your father told me about you wrecking the car, backing up at full speed.
Yeah,
the new car.
Brand new Mustang 1969.
Toe up.
And it was 1969. And that was the year I graduated from high school. Toe it up. I said, Lord, if you can take me now. I'll never hit into this.
Well, y'all have raised, you survived. You got 3 children.
Yes.
And you got
4 grandchildren.
I had to think 4 grandchildren. And you got the ministry of helping the veterans, as well as the fact that you recently retired from your church, and you're on radio. Please tell people where they can hear you, Rivers, on Saturday.
They can hear us on WTJC in the city of Chesapeake. Is 104.9. You can go to praise1049.com, and you can hear us every Saturday from 9:30 until 10 in the morning. And the title of the show is Harvest for the World, where we talk about community issues, where communication brings about unification.
Come on. What's that place where they can get it online again? Because people all over the world are listening.
Praise1049.com.
Praise1049.com. We want to, and Shirley, you have been such a blessing to our family.
Yes.
When you said yes to Rivers, our family, it was got a blessing, and you have the most incredible personality because you never get flustered. Even when my brother-in-law got lots going on, I mean, just stuff, you just always easy going. So we just
Everybody, right?
yes,
Somebody for everybody.
yes, yeah. So, and my brother-in-law is a lot to handle. He got a lot going
Yes, he
on.
is. Yes, he is. Yes, he
Yes,
is.
he is.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
is.
is.
A lot to handle.
Yeah, but another thing, Willie, I believe that humor helps.
Oh,
Yeah.
no question.
I
No.
really do believe that humor helps because a lot of people don't understand that you can laugh your way through.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for those that can't enjoy just laughter.
Yeah.
And because this life, you know, that things can have twists and turns. We saw
Right.
that last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right.
It can fool you.
Right.
Yes.
And you have to know how to handle it. Don't take things too serious and how to deal with it. But God is a good God.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Right.
You know, y'all have been such a great example for so many. And the things you did at your church, and now that you're retired, you can now look at all of the people
He's
in America.
retired from that, but he's still
No, he
working
retired
full-time
from
things.
the church, but he's retired
Yeah.
many times. He retired first from the school system,
Right.
Mhm.
30 or
Yep.
so years of counseling and teaching and counseling. Then he retired from ministry after another 30 years. And now he's got the ministry of the veterans. And they
Yes.
just work with these veterans. Closing thoughts, Jolley and Rivers, on Veterans Day, on working with veterans and how to be a blessing if you are a veteran or their family.
Yeah. Be encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be encouraged.
And those statistics that Dee gave about the suicides,
Mhm.
check with your veteran friends, your loved ones.
Support.
Give them some support because what they're doing is they're isolating themselves.
Yeah.
And a mind is crazy.
And you have to be patient.
And you have to be patient with them.
Mhm.
Shirley's patient with me. Sometimes
Yeah.
I cannot, like we were talking about earlier, emotions are hard to explain.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going through them.
Mhm.
So you got to learn how to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, and when your loved one or your spouse tells you, say, I cannot, it's all right if they cannot give you an answer right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But encourage them.
And don't be afraid to get the help.
Amen.
Don't be afraid.
Les Brown says, asking for help does not make you weak. It
Right.
helps to keep you strong.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
Well, thank y'all again for being
Let's give
part
out
of
the number again.
give out the number.
Veterans Crises Line
24/7
support
Mhm.
8988. Press
Mhm.
1.
That's one.
And the texting is 838255 or online veteranscrisisline.net.
There you go.
Amen.
Amen. And for anybody who ever goes to Hampton, Virginia, y'all just have to say the name Rivers Taylor and you get access to all the stores. They just, whatever you want, just say, I know Rivers.
Thank y'all.
My brother-in-law, look, y'all know I'm on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Many of you know that. I'm in 47, 48 markets now every morning. They did a call-in the other day. They had a question of the day some time ago. And they said, who is your favorite family member? I said, I love all my family members, but my favorite is that doggone brother-in-law of mine. That boy. If I talk to him before the 30 seconds, I'll be laughing out loud. So we went to New York. I got to tell this story. Went to New York and his back was out. He had hurt his back. And I am walking him all over New York. And he is.
We went for a holiday.
We went for a holiday. And we went to see
Yeah.
a theater and we had a I took him all over just to walking. He was cussing at me. He never let me forget that.
Boy tried to kill me that day.
That was something else.
That was funny. Well, look, I love you guys and love everybody.
y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
All the people who are watching, whether you watch it live or you're watching it on the replay, We appreciate you. We ask that you continue to share it with others. We bring in this information with one goal: to save 1 million marriages, enhance
Amen.
1 million marriages. And we
Amen.
want to specifically tonight positively impact veterans and their families. Am I right, Dee?
So we're honoring veterans.
We're honoring
their
veterans
families.
and their families, because
Thank
the
you.
families
Yes.
have made a sacrifice.
The
Just
families serve as well as the veterans.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
So we
That's
support you.
true.
We applaud and we salute you for your great service and sacrifice. All right, we want everybody to go to jollymarriage.com. If you do not have the book, get 2 copies, one for each of you. Anybody who has a relationship, it's 2 folks, have one and read it together. First, watch the TED Talk, absolutely free. Watch the TED Talk, about 12 minutes long. Then get the book, get 2 copies, or get the bundle, which is the 2 books, the 2 workbooks, the audio book, and the CD seminar. Look, it's a lot cheaper than a divorce court. Okay? All right? Come on now. Go get that now at jollymarriage.com. We will sign it and send them to you, and it will help your marriage. We've had marriages saved, we had marriages restored, and we had marriages encouraged. Our friend Gladys Pemberton just jumped on and said this was a wonderful session. Happy Veterans Day to all veterans.
Thanks, Gladys.
And Rivers and Shirley, thanks for your positive input. We love Gladys. Gladys checks in every week. We want to thank all Greg and Linda Kazera watching from home. Love you guys. I hope you're around the fire in West Virginia, around the fire pit. Our niece, Rivers' daughter, Tammy Sola, is on. She said, good job, Dad, and Shirley. And we got others joining on Instagram. So we want to thank everybody. We want y'all to have a good week, great week on purpose. We will see you next week. And remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. Let's go out with some of the music from my jazz album, Close to You. Here we go.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.